Want to catch the game on the go? Then switch to Metro by T-Mobile and you'll never miss a dunk. With Metro, you'll get access to a network that covers 99% of people in the U.S., just like the big guys. So you can catch all the action. Plus, you'll save a ton over what you're paying with AT&T or Verizon. Score big with Metro. Switch now and save big on a great network. Metro by T-Mobile. That's genius. Note that coverage not available in some areas. Stop by a store for details and terms and conditions.
This is the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
I'm Stephen A. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the latest edition of the Stephen A. Smith Show, coming at you as I love to do every weekday over the airways of ESPN Radio and ESPN News. 250-plus markets across the United States of America, plus ESPN Radio on Sirius XM, Channel 80, plus ESPN Radio simulcast over the live national television airways of ESPN News. Number to call up, as always, is 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. The Stephen A. Smith Show on the road is being presented by Progressive Insurance. It's live from Atlanta for coverage of the big game. That would be Super Bowl 53 this Sunday evening. It's time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless, best phones, best networks, no contracts. My apologies to those out there. I don't sound like myself. I feel great. I'm not sick or anything like that. I just lost my damn voice. I've done literally about 27 different interviews over the last 36 hours. So because of that, my voice is a little bit shot, but I'm here and I'm going to plug on through. The great Jerry Rice will be on the show with us in just a minute or so. I wanted to stay, before he comes on the show, wanted to let everybody in New York know that I'm going to touch on this Kristaps Porzingis trade at some point, because here's the deal. A lot of people are getting on the New York Knicks, and you've gotten pundits and everybody talk about New York Knicks getting the pass. Let's be very, very clear. The New York Knicks suck. Okay, let me be very, very clear for those that think that somehow, some way I pull punches. I believe in Steve Mills, and I believe in Scott Perry, and I believe the future in which they're trying to take this franchise into. But the Knicks stink, and they have stunk, and that's why I'm so supportive of this move. Because if a guy like Kristaps Porzingis comes to you and tells you, I don't want to be here, if you try to keep me here and you don't trade me, I'm going to sign a qualifying offer. And the qualifying offer, mandated by the league's collective bargaining rule, stipulates that you can only sign for 1 year. And after that 1 year, you are an unrestricted free agent. You essentially strip the team that you're on of all the leverage that they have for you. So in order for the New York Knicks to maximize the value that they had for Kristaps Porzingis, they had to make a move now, because you didn't want to keep him on board, telling you he wanted out, essentially indicating to you that he was going to let prospective free agents know that he wanted out, and I'd advise you not to come here as well. You can't let somebody like that stay on your team when you're trying to attract a marquee free agent in the offseason, which is why you turn around, you move him, you create $75 million in cap space, giving you enough dollars to get 2 max players, and it puts you in the running to compete with the Brooklyn Nets, to compete with the Los Angeles Clippers, to compete with teams like the Lakers, the Dallas Mavericks, and others for the marquee free agents out there. It's the only chance you have. Now, does it work? Hell no. It doesn't work until you get those free agents. The New York Knicks are on the clock. They're under immense pressure to get something for losing Porzingis. But understand, they had no choice, in my estimation, because the man didn't want to stay there. He wasn't going to stay there, and nobody was going to come if they had to come by themselves to join the New York Knicks and to be the successor to Porzingis instead of playing alongside Porzingis. That's why you had to let him go. But I'll get into all of that a little bit more as the show progresses right here. Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Is my man on the line right now? Is the greatest wide receiver in the history of the National Football League, the four-time champion, Jerry Rice. Is he on the line right now? Is Jerry Rice there?
Maybe.
What's going on, Big Tom? How are you, man? The one and only Jerry
great.
Rice, ladies and gentlemen. Jerry Rice is on the line with yours truly. How are you, my man? How's everything been going?
Hey, man, everything is good, man. Another Super Bowl. Here we go.
Did I ever tell you that I'm still mad at you and my anger towards you has been dating back years? Did I ever tell you that?
What are you talking about? Why are you mad at me?
You came on quite frankly years ago when I had my own television show,
Yes,
quite
I
frankly,
did.
on ESPN2. It was a decade ago.
Okay.
You had just finished doing Dancing with the Stars, and if I recall, winning Dancing with the Stars.
No, I did not win.
No. You can't. What you do? Were you the runner-up?
Yes, I did. I got beat by Drew Lachey.
Okay. Well, let me tell you something. You danced pretty damn good, and you came on, quite frankly, and you showed dance moves that I couldn't imitate. So as a result,
what's wrong with that?
Because everybody knows I can't dance now, and it's all your fault.
You need to take some lessons.
It's all your fault.
Well, you told. Don't be blaming me.
I am blaming you because, damn it, you know how to dance.
I can't help you dance.
What you tried.
I'm not. You could pay me to give you lessons. Yeah, I don't play NFL football anymore. I need a job.
Come on now. Jerry Rice, first of all, what have you been doing with yourself? Because you're here on behalf of Hennessy, first of all. Talk to us about what you're doing with Hennessy and what's going on with that. Let's get that out the way.
Yeah, Hennessy is they have a variety of cognacs, and cognac is a brandy, and it's made in Cognac, France, and for 250 years they have celebrated this with their customers. And you have the never stop, the never settle attitude. And that was something that I did in professional football. So, hey, with the big Super Bowl coming up, probably going to be Hennessy on the rocks, or I might go to Hennessy XO, which is extra O. Extra O. You know what I'm saying, brother? So, Hennessy.com/US.
You know, Jerry, I listen to you right now, and I don't know if you know this. Do you know that Hennessy is my favorite drink?
Oh, man,
I drink Hennessy. I drink
that's
Hennessy
a manly
and Coke
drink,
every weekend.
I know, boy.
I drink Hennessy and Coke every weekend.
Well, at least we can agree on something.
It relaxes me, man. It definitely relaxes me.
It makes me feel so good that we can agree on something, brother.
That's what I'm saying. Never stop, never settle. I mean, you did it as a football player. I do it with my career in television. Never stop, never settle. I'm constantly after it. So I've taken lessons from one of the greatest, if not the greatest of all time, well, unquestionably the greatest wide receiver in NFL history, the one and only Jerry Rice. But as you stand here for Super Bowl 53, what's the first thing jumping into your mind about this particular matchup with New England versus the Los Angeles Rams?
I think it's just that even though I'm not playing in the game, I'm nervous. I was always nervous doing big games, but it brought out the best in me. You look at New England, they got the experience. They got probably one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game. They have a legitimate running game. They got a go-to guy, which I feel is Edelman. And then you got Gronk, so they got some weapons on offense. They have a good defense. The Rams, they don't have all of that experience. They don't have all that knowledge about being on the big stage. But then you got Donald, you got Sue, and they're going to have to get to Tom Brady and try to rattle him a little bit. And then that secondary going to have to do a good job of, keeping everything underneath.
You know, it's interesting that you bring that up because here's what I'm looking at. We've talked so much about Tom Brady and the greatness of Tom Brady. I don't understand how that hasn't enabled us to transition to Jared Goff being a third-year quarterback going up against the genius of Bill Belichick. How come nobody's brought that up?
You know, I think the thing is, too, and Stephen, here's the deal. Mm-hmm. And I would always say this, and no one thought that Clemson would beat Alabama. So,
well, I certainly didn't think they was going to beat their butts the way they beat the brakes off of them like they did.
Brother, let me tell you something. I'm going to tell you something. So Dwight Clark went to Clemson.
Okay.
So Dabo Swinney wanted me to come in and talk to the team this Saturday before that Monday, game.
Okay.
So I go in, I talk to the team, and I talk to the team about teamwork and working together and knowing that the guy next to you got your back. And, I talked to the receivers about using, double move, triple moves coming off the line of scrimmage. And these guys, they talked about their defense as being one of the best. I said, you guys going to get a chance to go up against the best team, Alabama. How are you going to respond to that? So I feel, as a team, the Rams, they got a legitimate chance. You got to be able to slay that dragon. So they deserve to be here, but Tom Brady is not going to make it easy for them. And the Patriots, they deserve to be here. So it should be a good football game.
It's interesting that you told me you were in that locker room the Saturday before that Monday Night National Championship game between Clemson and Alabama, because this kid, Justin Ross, who's a true freshman out of Alabama, who chose Clemson over Alabama.
Yeah.
I mean, my God, we might be talking about him, comparing him to you in the years to come. That's a bad young brother.
That's a bad young man right there, boy. He was killing it. Then he hit me up on social media. He said, Jerry, I used that double move you told me to do. And stuff like that. So it made me feel good, man. But then, Trevor Lawrence, the freshman.
Special.
I met this guy when he was in Portland. He was at a Nike camp. And the way he threw the ball, his composure, it was just unreal the way he played in that football game.
Jerry Rice, let me move on with this quick. First of all, let's get right to it. Who you picking to win this game?
I think, God, it's hard for me to pick one.
I want to hear hard.
No.
I need a prediction.
Whoever wins this game, guess what they're going to do? They're going to be toasting with Hennessy.
I ain't mad at that. They're going to be toasting with Hennessy, and I applaud that. But I'm asking you, who the hell is it going to be? Is it going to be Tom Brady and Bill Belichick or Jared Goff and Sean McVay? Who's it going to be?
We're going to have to wait and watch this play out, man. I'm no
what's
expert.
the matter with you, former athlete, you Hall of Famers,
you the expert.
You stars,
you the expert.
NFL aficionados, scared to make a prediction, Jerry Rice.
Don't make me come through this wire to get to you.
You ain't got to.
You don't want to mess with me, man. You don't want to mess with me, man. Hey, look, let me tell you one more thing, man. Everybody comparing and they're saying, who's the GOAT? There's a fraternity.
I was on there. That was my next question to you.
There's a fraternity of GOATs in the NFL, in basketball. I don't care if you're a doctor, if you're a lawyer. There's a fraternity.
I understand, and I understand that means that you're alluding to a hesitation to pick one. Well, I'm going to ask you to any damn way. They're talking about Tom Brady and acting like Tom Brady should be the GOAT over Joe Montana, your quarterback that helped deliver some Super Bowl championships to you. Are you of that feeling, Jerry?
Hey, what did I just say to you? I said there's a fraternity of GOATs. Yes, Tom Brady is a GOAT. Yes, Joe Montana is a GOAT. Yes.
But you're not taking one over
You're a GOAT. Stephen A. Smith, you're a GOAT, man.
I appreciate that.
You're the greatest of all time.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And I'm touched by that.
Hey, man, put the check in the mail, man.
I did damn right. I am going to put the check in the mail, but I still want to know Tom Brady compared to Joe Montana in your mind. Because you played with Joe Montana in all seriousness.
It's a different era.
Okay.
It's a different era, man. And what he's doing at the age of 41, you got to take your hat off to him.
In all seriousness, Jerry Rice, because we got Jerry Rice here on behalf of Hennessy, the greatest wide receiver in the history of the National Football League, right here with Stephen A., ESPN Radio, ESPN News. You've been on the record being supportive of the great Antonio Brown of the Pittsburgh Steelers, ultimately, coming to San Francisco. How he wanted to be traded, he wants out of Pittsburgh, he wants to come to San Francisco. Here's where I'm surprised. And I love Antonio Brown.
Yeah, go ahead.
I do.
Go ahead.
Here's where I'm surprised. You were a model of professionalism throughout your career. You strongly believed in putting your head down, putting in the work, and just being great at what you did.
Yeah.
You wasn't about the drama in it by any stretch of the imagination. Clearly, AB is to some degree. And he's even taught us that, because as much as I love my man T.O., from a publicity perspective, I don't think it's the greatest thing in the world.
Stephen A. Smith,
yes.
Where you going with this, man? Where you going with this?
I'm asking, my question to you is, I'm shocked that you've been so supportive of AB coming to San Francisco as opposed to him working things out in Pittsburgh.
Okay, let me break this down real fast for you. I did not contact AB. He contacted me.
I know.
The fans from Pittsburgh, why are you guys mad at me? Why are you mad at me? He contacted me and he said, hey, Jerry, look, I would love to work out with you. And then the conversation changed a little bit. He said, yeah, maybe San Francisco. I said, San Francisco? I said, if we could bring you to San Francisco, man, I mean, with the players that we have in place right now, God, this is going to send a message to the fans that we're not waiting and trying to win 2 or 3 years down the road. We're trying to win right now. And with your brand,
I see.
If with your brand,
so you ain't even thinking about objectively saying something. You're favoring the San Francisco 49ers. You saying, damn all them other people. I want them in San Francisco. That's what you saying.
It's not my choice. That's up to Kevin Lynch and also John Lynch. John Lynch.
Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, Kyle Shanahan. That's up to those guys, Stephen A. Smith.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm just delivering the message.
Got it.
You see what I'm saying? And we would love to have him in San Francisco. I'm going to be honest with you, man. Because
and by the way, where are you living these days?
I'm still in Northern California, man.
You're in Northern California. Northern California. Right.
Man, we need to hang out sometime, man.
Right. You know what? We can in Southern California.
I
am no fan of Northern California.
Hey, let's have Hennessy on the rocks. I know you like Hennessy and Coke and stuff like that. And we can chill, man.
You know what it is? It's too damn cold there.
What are you talking about?
It's cold in Northern California. I'll be damned if it ain't.
Hey, man, look, I had to go through Chicago one year for a championship game, man. It was like in the teens. You going to tell me you fair weather like that, man?
When I hear the words California, I'm thinking warm, sunshine, palm trees. If I don't hear that associated with California, I have no use for it. That's me. I got to go, though.
I thought you was a tough guy, man.
Yo, please. I'm not. When it comes to cold weather, hell no. I'm as soft as they come. I'll be the first to admit it. Appreciate you, my man. I'm proud of you as always, man. It's always good to talk to you and hear from you. All the best to you, okay?
Hey, man, I love you, man. You're the greatest of all time, man.
All right, my man.
Later.
The one and only Jerry Rice, the greatest wide receiver in the history of the National Football League, right here with Stephen A. ESPN Radio, ESPN News. I really don't understand what the hell he's saying right now. If you're not willing to admit that you just have a personal affinity for the San Francisco 49ers, why the hell would you suggest that Antonio Brown needs to be there? I got to state this for the record. Before I get back to Porzingis, I'm really sick and tired of this love porn star Jimmy gets. That's right. I said Jimmy Garoppolo. That's right. I said, did I stutter? Porn star Jimmy. That's what I called him. And, let me give y'all an inside joke because it's Mickey Mouse. ESPN is Walt Disney. So, they own us. So it's Mickey Mouse. And everybody's always in an uproar. My producer this dude, my producer right over there, Jonathan Winter, one of the wildest dudes you'd ever want to meet in your life. But I say porn star Jimmy and his face cringes. Ooh, ooh, ooh. He's timid with it. The producer's back in Bristol, Connecticut, New York, LA, everything. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Excuse me. Jimmy Garoppolo went out with a porn star in Hollywood, knowing that the paparazzis and the cameras, everybody, were there. He knew that. And he went out there anywhere. What a porn star. Now, I'm not hating on him. I don't have a problem with that. To each his own. But what I'm trying to say is that we didn't hesitate to say he was out with a porn star. So what's wrong with me calling them porn star Jimmy? What's wrong with that? I'm not changing that. If I change it, it's going to be executive orders from the top. Because guess what? It's accurate. If you go out with a porn star before you threw a damn pass, for a particular season anyway, all right, and you're more recognized for that date than you are for any damn touchdown passes you threw in the season because you got hurt in game 2. Well, damn it, the reason why you're relevant is that you're porn star Jimmy. So I don't see the problem. Then I'm not a part. And by the way, to Jimmy Garoppolo and the family of Jimmy Garoppolo, it is not an insult. You understand? To each his own. Young single man, good-looking dude, can quarterback, protege, working behind Tom Brady, clearly has some skills. Bill Belichick wanted to keep you. You were 7-0 in your first 7 starts as a quarterback. Haven't been able to stay healthy. Got hurt in New England. Got hurt when you got to San Francisco. After you got $137 million, by the way. And by the way, he went out with the porn star after he got the $137 million contract. Not before. So it wasn't like she was out with porn star Jimmy before he got paid. But that's neither here nor there. The point is it happened. And that's okay. So I just wanted to say that, okay? And for those out there that are younger and all of that other stuff, adult film star. Does that sound better? I like porn star Jimmy, though. It works. Anyway, back to Porzingis. There's a bigger story going on here that everybody needs to pay attention to when it comes to the NBA. What you have is a situation. You got to remember when LeBron James elected to leave Cleveland to go to Miami, say what you will about him, but he was a free agent. He spent the first 7 years of his career in Cleveland. He wanted a different experience. He went to South Beach on his own after he served his time in Cleveland. He went to Miami. He gave them 4 years, got them to 4 straight NBA Finals appearances, won 2 championships, elected to take his services back to Cleveland. But he was already a free agent. Okay? Whether we like it or not, he did his time. He honored his commitment. When he was free to go elsewhere, that's what he did. That's not what's happening now. That's not what happened with Carmelo Anthony when he forced his way out of Denver. That's not what happened. That's what's happening, or what happened with Kyrie Irving when he forced his way out of Cleveland. That's not what happened with Anthony Davis now, who's trying to force his way out of New Orleans. And so what you have is, if you think for 1 second that this is about the Lakers and the Lakers getting an Anthony Davis, for example, you're missing the boat. This is about the NBA with various teams in various small markets collaborating with one another in an effort to try to influence the New Orleans Pelicans to stop them from shipping him to L.A. Because if you capitulate to those demands, to a guy that is a superstar but is under contract for the next year and a half, you've completely depleted and wiped out the power that a team has to hold you to your contract. That's why when Kawhi Leonard wanted to leave San Antonio, Greg Popovich and the Spurs sent them out of the country to Toronto. They said, you can go to L.A. if you want to, but it's not going to be through our hands. It's going to be through somebody else's hands, because we're not giving you that power. And they're encouraging New Orleans to not give Anthony Davis that power. The New York Knicks capitulating and giving away Porzingis, in a lot of people's eyes, they caved. And that's what people have a problem with. I think the difference with the New York Knicks is that it's to their disadvantage, or it would have been to their disadvantage, to keep Porzingis. Because if he signed a qualifying, he basically went into the room, ladies and gentlemen, and said, if you keep me, I'm going to sign a qualifying offer. That qualifying offer, which would happen to happen this summer, is a 1-year deal. After you sign the qualifying offer, you are an unrestricted free agent, free to go elsewhere the following year without them getting any compensation whatsoever. They couldn't risk that, particularly approaching a free agent summer this year where they were trying to get a marquee player to come. Because you were willing to stand there and say, I don't want to be here and y'all shouldn't want to come either, because this ain't the place to be. They couldn't have him there, particularly if he was in a position to sign a qualifying offer, which he says he would have done. So that's where you have your problem. They had to get rid of him. New Orleans doesn't have to do that with Anthony Davis. New Orleans can sit there and stand pat and say, we're going to wait till the summer, because there's a host of other teams that want him and may offer us a boatload for his services. Why should we just give in to what the Lakers want with 10 days notice before the NBA trading deadline expires, when we can buy ourselves a few months, wait until the summer, and see what you got to offer us? That's the difference. So Porzingis and Anthony Davis is not the same, but both situations have raised the antennas of league owners throughout those small markets in the NBA who says, we don't like caving to these big market teams. Something has to be done. So it's not just Anthony Davis against the Pelicans. It's Anthony Davis against every small market team in the NBA who wants to stop him, to send a message that you cannot ignore your contractual obligation to us. And on top of that, he's a young brother. So you're a young brother wielding that kind of power. You got billionaire white owners that don't like that. That's the real story going on in the NBA. And guess what? I side with the billionaire white owners. And I'm going to explain to y'all why in just a minute. Stick around. You're listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Ryan Clark, Sal Paolantonio, the heavyweight champion of the world, Deontay Wilder. All of them are coming up on the Stephen A. Smith Show right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN News. That was Straight Talk Wireless nationwide coverage on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks. By the way, do you have frequent heartburn? Like the kind where you have an acid stashed everywhere in case it pops up? You know what I mean. You keep some in your bag or your desk or your car or your nightstand. You have those chalky tablets ready for whenever and wherever heartburn strikes. Well, listen up. There's an easier way to deal with your heartburn. That's Prilosec OTC. Just one pill a day will last a full 24 hours with zero heartburn. So kick your antacid habit. It's possible with Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief. Back to your calls and more in a minute, and I'll break down to you why those white billionaire owners are not wrong. I'll explain in just a minute. Don't touch that dial. You're listening live. Stephen A., ESPN Radio, ESPN News.
Are you hiring? With Indeed, you can post a job in minutes, set up screener questions, then zero in on your short list of qualified candidates using an online dashboard. Get started today at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Want to catch the game on the go? Metro has you covered. With Metro, you get access to a network that covers 99% of people in the U.S., just like the big guys, so you'll never miss any of the action. Plus, you'll save a ton over what you're paying with AT&T or Verizon. Score big with Metro. Switch now and save big on a great network. Metro by T-Mobile. That's genius. Note that coverage not available in some areas. Stop by a store for details and terms and conditions.
You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
The Stephen A. Smith Show is being brought to you by Prilosec OTC. Kick your antacid habit with Prilosec OTC. Plus, if you missed my opening segment, go check it out on demand in the Stephen A. podcast, brought to you by the new Capital One Saver Card. Earn 4% cash back on dining and entertainment, 2% at grocery stores, and 1% on all other purchases. Hey, what's in your wallet? 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. I want to get into a deep subject that I have no doubt is going to make a whole lot of people uncomfortable. And I got news for you. I ain't talking about just white folks. Black folks going to be uncomfortable with what I'm about to say as well. And I want to apologize in advance to ESPN, to Black America, to white America, to everybody in between for what I'm about to say. And the reason why I want to apologize is because I'm supposed to give a damn, but I don't. The truth is the truth, and it's time that we start embracing it. When you look at these NBA players and the muscle that they're willing to flex, I want you all to understand that a vast majority of times, if not all of them, these are young men of African American descent who have been starving to be in a position where they could be mavericks, not beholden to the stringent rules and the puppet strings and the muscles of corporate America. They want to be able to do what they want to do, when they want to do it, how they want to do it, whenever they damn well please. Here's the funny part about that I often laugh about. Tell me what person, regardless of ethnicity, doesn't want that in their life. Tell me that you listen to a man right now, that you've seen a man or a woman, no matter the ethnicity, their color of their skin, their culture, whatever, who doesn't want complete, unadulterated control over their life. Everybody wants it. It's not a crime. You know where the crime comes in? When you think you're entitled to it, as you have your hand out for somebody else's money. That makes no sense. And those are the kind of things that we don't talk enough about. When you look at a player, and Anthony Davis, for example, you want to have the freedom to go where you want to go and do what you want to do. Not one time did I hear you say to the New Orleans Hornets, I'm making $25 million this year. Here's your money back. I never heard that. When Porzingis got hurt and missed the last 34 games of last season and missed all of the games thus far, the first 50 games of this season, I never once heard him say, yo, Knicks, here's your money back. See, we don't talk enough about that reality. You know how many times as a pundit, a commentator, a reporter, an insider for ESPN, I got people rolling up on me. Yo, Stephen A., you got to speak up on this. It doesn't even have to have anything to do with sports. But because I'm an African American sitting in this position, having the cachet in the position that I have, which few of us have been blessed and fortunate enough to have, everybody thinks that I should have the license and the willingness to speak on these issues. And guess what? They actually right. Because me sitting in this position, knowing that I'm one of the few, I have to give a voice to the voiceless, and there's an obligation that I feel a sense to my community to have, which is why I will touch on those issues. But touching on those issues is one thing. Echoing the sentiments to express a voice and give voice to an issue that's pertinent and relevant to our community, yes, I feel an obligation to do that. But you don't get to tell me how to feel and what I'm supposed to believe. And the reason why that's important is because in today's day and age with these athletes, they want to do what they want to do, and they want everybody to disseminate what they want to disseminate. See, just as much as I understand Anthony Davis wanting to leave the Smoothie King Arena for the Staples Center, wanting to depart from New Orleans to go to L.A., I understand the Pelicans saying, give a damn what you want. We have your contractual rights. Because when they signed him to $145 million, they could have never obligated him to that contract if he had not signed on a dotted line. Now, some people say, well, Stephen A., what the hell he supposed to do? I mean, those are the rules, and you got the rookie wage scale, and he had to sign that contract. Well, nobody told you had to play in the NBA. But you didn't care where you played when you came out of Kentucky because you wanted that paper. It's only after you got the paper that now you want to sit up there and say, I should have the right to go to where I want to go. LeBron James was a free agent. What did I say for years to y'all? Unintentionally. I'm not blaming him as if he intentionally did it. But I will state this until the cows come home. LeBron James did more damage to the NBA players than anyone could ever imagine. Here's how. Because it wasn't that he left. It's how he left. He said Dan Gilbert at the time. What do you think he's going to do? How do you think he's going to react? He's sitting there, he paying you at the time $50 million a year. He's catering to everything you and your crew wants. He built a practice facility damn near Akron, where your hometown is from. He gave you everything you wanted. And he found out you were leaving by watching national television like the rest of us. You don't think that's going to rub him the wrong way? And then after that, what happens? Years later, he has The Shop on HBO. Man, you see these NFL owners? They're like plantation owners. What do you think people are going to do? They're paying you millions upon millions of dollars to provide them with a service that will be profitable for them and help them generate revenue. They're giving you millions to do it, and you're accusing them of slavery. I'm asking you for a second, ignore whether it's true or not. What boss do you think you can say that about, and it ain't going to come back to bite you? It's one or two things when that happens. There's either an absence of intelligence, which no one could ever accuse LeBron of having because the man is brilliant, or it's selfishness because you got yours. So y'all go figure out how to get yours. And I'll end it by saying this. And I can say this because Allen Iverson is my brother and we're very tight. We talk twice a week. You know, that's my man. But I remember years ago, I got into this big argument with Allen Iverson. Because Allen Iverson used to talk about being what you want to be, doing what you want to do, however you want to do it, et cetera, et cetera. And I said, you know, that's interesting you say that. I respect that. I said, when you got drafted in 1996, what were you wearing? Had on this fly suit. Allen Iverson did not have cornrows. Allen Iverson had a nice cut with a nice fade. There were no tats on his neck. Nothing like that. So you played the game to get to where you needed to go. Once you got there, here come the braids. Here come the tats. Here comes forcing the NBA to put in a dress code and all of that other stuff. Because you got yours. Now you talking. We should be able to do what we want. No, you can do what you want because you got there. But the vast majority, 95 to 99% of the population will never, ever have that luxury. So why are you teaching people? And I'm not talking about Allen Iverson here. I'm just speaking generically. Why are you teaching people and imploring people to adopt habits that you know good and damn well will never work for the vast majority of us? Now, I say stuff like that, and people get upset, and they call me the sellout. I'm telling you what works, and I'm living proof that it works. So who's the sellout? Somebody that's giving you information on how to win, or somebody who's setting their own people up for failure, unintentionally or not. Think about that. I'll be back at you in a minute. You're listening live. Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, ESPN News. By the way, gentlemen, stop lounging around. Be active. Take your girl out. Go to a game or a concert. Get tickets to something. Plus, the NBA season is heating up, and the time is now to jump on those tickets. For all your ticket needs, look no further than Vivid Seats, the official ticket partner of ESPN. Go to vividseats.com and enter promo code ESPN to get 10% off your first order. Get out, go have an experience, fellas. Get to the game and use what I use as Vivid Seats. 888-SAY-ESPN. That is the number to call right here into the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, ESPN News. I can't wait till my man Ryan Clark, and especially my brother from another mother, Sal Paolantonio, the NFL reporter extraordinaire. Both of them will be on in hour number 2 right here with Stephen A., ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Back with more in a minute.
Edible underpants. Never classy. Edible arrangements. Always classy. It's easy to make a big impression this Valentine's Day with the freshest fruit and the finest chocolate from Edible Arrangements. Don't wait until the last minute. Place your Valentine's Day order by February 10th and save 20% on all pickup orders over $50. Stop by your local Edible Arrangements and experience love at first bite, or order online and have delicious delivered at edible.com.
Guess what?
You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it!
Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio and ESPN News is being brought to you by Pennzoil Synthetics, taking synthetic motor oil performance to a whole new level. So make the switch to Pennzoil Synthetics today. Plus, this Sunday, ESPN Deportes is your home for Super Bowl 53 in Spanish. Will Brady and Belichick win their 6th Super Bowl together, or will Jared Goff and Todd Gurley bring the Lombardi Trophy back to L.A.? It's Super Bowl 53 this Sunday in Spanish on ESPN Deportes. Coverage starts at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 888-SAY-ESPN. William, real quick, you're live with Stephen A. You got about 30 seconds. Go ahead.
Yes, good afternoon. First time. The trade yesterday, I like it, and I like the fact that we got 2 future first-round picks, one of them being in 2 years, which is great. We got hours now with some cap room. What do you see the Knicks doing with Enes Kanter and Franklin Ntilikina? Thank you. Bye.
I got to admit to you, I don't give a damn what they do with either player. Frank Ntilikina is somebody I never believed should have been with the New York Knicks. They should have drafted Dennis Smith Jr. then instead of Frank Ntilikina. I mean, the sad part is that I'm told Phil Jackson never saw the man play. Never saw the man play, drafted him anyway. That's just disgraceful. That's just absolutely disgraceful. In the case of Enes Kanter, I like him a lot. I think he's a better player than given credit for, and I think he can contribute to a lot of teams in the NBA. But the Knicks don't necessarily need him, so I don't have a problem with either of them being gone, although I hope they would be able to do something for Kanter if possible. But it's not a necessity. That much I will tell you. Hour number 2 up next. Ryan Clark, Sal Paolantonio, heavyweight champion of the world, Deontay Wilder. Don't touch that dial.
That's just a sample of what you'll hear on the Stephen A. Smith Show. Weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
State Farm, Robert here.
Robert, somebody burned down my she shed.
No one burned down your she shed, Cheryl.
Oh, really, Victor? Because my she shed's burning up in the backyard.
Your she shed was struck by lightning, Cheryl.
Robert, does State Farm cover my she shed?
What's a she shed?
She turned our shed into her hideaway, Robert.
Oh, yeah, that's covered.
You hear that, Victor? I'm getting a new she shed.
Can we stop saying she shed now?
Go with the one that's here to help life go right. State Farm. Talk to an agent today.
Want to catch the game on the go? Then switch to Metro by T-Mobile and you'll never miss a dunk. With Metro, you'll get access to a network that covers 99% of people in the U.S., just like the big guys. So you can catch all the action. Plus, you'll save a ton over what you're paying with AT&T or Verizon. Score big with Metro. Switch now and save big on a great network. Metro by T-Mobile. That's genius. Note that coverage not available in some areas. Stop by a store for details and terms and conditions.
This is the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
I'm Stephen A. Welcome to hour number 2 of the Stephen A. Smith Show, coming at you right live from Super Bowl week, Atlanta, Georgia, the Atlanta Convention Center. Just a little ways away from Super Bowl 53 this Sunday evening. Live from the Mercedes-Benz Dome here in Atlanta, Georgia. Stephen A. Smith Show live from ATL for coverage of the big game. Super Bowl 53 is being brought to you by Peloton. Also, Plus ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Customers who switch to Progressive can save an average of $668. Call or click today and find out if we could save you hundreds on your car insurance. On the line with us right now is our NFL analyst extraordinaire, does an outstanding job for us all season long, covering the NFL. He's a Super Bowl champion with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Obviously, he went to the Redskins for some inexplicable reason that I still haven't forgiven him for. Nevertheless, he's done a great job for us on the NFL coverage. He's a contributor to First Take every week. He's on NFL Live every week. You can catch him on Sunday nights, usually after the games, because he does an outstanding job of breaking down what transpired during NFL weekends. The one and only Ryan Clark is on the phone with us as we speak. What's going on, Big Time? How are you?
What's up, my man? How you doing? I know you tired, man. I'm seeing you everywhere.
You know what? I'm actually feeling great. I just lost my voice. I mean, I'm not tired at all or anything. I lost my voice for obvious reasons, but I'll make it.
Hey, between Porzingis and AD, man, I see you everywhere.
All right, tell me about it. The Knicks better get something. I know that much. They better get something out this damn deal. But you know what? Before I get to the NFL, speak to me about this. As a Louisiana native, somebody who still lives down in those parts, hearing that AD, Anthony Davis, one of the top 5 greatest players on the planet, doesn't want to be there any longer and would rather be in L.A. How do you feel about that?
You know, it's crazy. Obviously, you've seen the way that fans are with the New Orleans Saints, and it's much like that with the Pelicans, and AD is the guy. AD is the main attraction. And New Orleans is much like a place where they feel that if you're not with them, then you're against them. And it's actually been, you know, kind of strange to see how they've reacted after losing the game to the Los Angeles Rams the way they did, and now having AD say out loud, say publicly that he doesn't want to be there anymore. I mean, I think it's been tough on fans there, and now they're just getting to the point where they just want the situation to be over. But it's something that was talked about, and you heard it all day for 2 days when AD started to make these demands that he wanted to be out of New Orleans.
Knowing that you're a resident of Louisiana, started at LSU, obviously your roots are very, very deep there. Based on what you know of that area, before we get into football and Super Bowl talk, do you think AD should come back, or should he sit out until he gets traded, considering the position that he put himself in and the level of vitriol those fans may elect to show him because they know he doesn't want to be there any longer?
Well, you know what? I mean, my opinion would be that if he's healthy and if he's still there and he's not traded, that he play. And the reason being because that's what your contract says you should do. And don't give the people any more reason to feel about you a certain way or to hate you.
Let me interrupt you. Let me interrupt you, Ryan. I apologize because I'm not wording the question correctly. I know that he should do that. What I'm saying is that if you're a New Orleans Pelicans fan, do you want to see him now that he's told you he no longer want to play for you?
No, you don't. You don't want to be his second choice. You don't want to be the one that he's playing for only because he can't be with the one he wants, right? You don't want to be the guy that had to take the girl to the prom who was waiting on someone else to ask her. And so for me, I don't think they want him on the court. I don't think they want him to be out there. They probably want him gone to see what they can get back for him with people that want to be New Orleans Pelicans. And so now that you worded it that way, I definitely have a different feeling about what you were saying. Yeah, I don't think those people want to see AD back out there in the Pelicans jersey because he says he doesn't want to wear those colors.
We're talking to Ryan Clark, NFL analyst extraordinaire with Louisiana roots, perfectly qualified to speak about the tenor that exists in New Orleans, Louisiana. He's right here with Stephen A., ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Let's get to the Super Bowl talk. We've got the Rams versus the New England Patriots. Is this how you saw everything going down? Is this the encounter you anticipated, or was it something else?
You know, going into the playoffs, I anticipated Kansas City to come out. You know, you've talked about it before with Andy Reid and him needing to be able to get his team to a Super Bowl and to win the Super Bowl. They had home field advantage. They had Patrick Mahomes, and the Patriots dominated them up front early on in the game in the first half. So saying that I thought that Tom Brady and the New England Patriots would fix their problems that we saw in the middle of the season to a point where they were playing in this game, that was not anything I expected. And I've been a Rams supporter all year. They were the team I picked early on in the season to make it to the Super Bowl, but I'm also surprised and amazed they were able to go down to New Orleans and quiet that crowd, win that game. Obviously, the call was a huge factor. The missed call or the no call was a huge factor in the Rams being there, but I can be honest and say going into the playoffs, I expected both number one seeds to have the best chance to come out. So for these two teams to go into those hostile environments and win shows you just how good, how well coached they both were. And I think we have a great matchup on Sunday night.
Who do you have winning this game?
I'm going with the Rams. I think and it's hard. You know, I said the other day I wasn't going to go against Tom Brady anymore because every time I do, he just makes me look like a fool. And Ndamukong Suh, Deontay Wilder Jr., we've been waiting all year for those guys to start giving Aaron Donald some support. We understand that he's the best defensive player. If not the best non-quarterback or most influential non-quarterback in the league, but he couldn't do it by himself. The way that Ndamukong Suh has stepped up his effort, has stepped up his attention to detail, has stepped up his want to compete and play has been amazing. I think it's been a huge reason as to why the Rams are where they are. And if they can get that kind of pressure, if they can continue to stay after Tom Brady the way they were after Drew Brees, the way they stopped the run against the Dallas Cowboys, I expect the Rams to be able to move the ball enough to score the points to win this game.
Is it possible that the biggest reason that you could be wrong about this kind of prediction is because James White is going to be catching passes out of the backfield, and that's going to cause havoc and wreak havoc on the Los Angeles Rams?
100%. If you look at a place where the Los Angeles Rams are vulnerable, I know we talk about the secondary a ton, but look where Alvin Kamara was able to exploit them early on in the game in New Orleans. It was pass catching out of the backfield. You saw the adjustment made by the Rams to have Ndamukong Suh or other linemen chip Kamara out of the backfield because the linebackers couldn't keep up. The linebackers couldn't hold him, even though they are smaller built guys who are built for speed. And so James White was huge last year in the Super Bowl. He was even bigger against the Los Angeles Chargers in the divisional playoff game. And I think he is the not necessarily the focal point of the Patriots offense, but he's the catalyst, right? He's the guy who makes the early plays early on and drives early on in games that gets the ball rolling for the Patriots. So finding ways to stop him, prevent him from converting third downs into first downs has to be a top priority of the Los Angeles Rams, Wade Phillips, and his linebacking core.
Why are you, like most others, not bringing up the fact that a third-year quarterback in Jared Goff has to go up against the genius that is Bill Belichick? I mean, I can understand, look, that if we want to give credit and credence to that defensive line getting after Tom Brady, particularly up the middle, and causing him havoc and inconvenience, how is it that we ignore or we just gloss over the problems that the mind of Bill Belichick can end up causing for a third-year player like Jared Goff?
You know, I think part of that is our belief in Sean McVay, his ability to dial up plays, his ability to create space and opportunity for Jared Goff to get rid of the ball, for Jared Goff to make plays.
But has he really earned that? Because Sean McVay hasn't been in this predicament either. This is a coach that, what is he, 32, 33 years of age? He hasn't been in this position, and he's going against Belichick.
And what I'll say to that, what I'll say to you, Stephen A., is last year a first-year head coach and a backup quarterback also beat the New England Patriots.
Mm.
You know, you look at Nick Foles, and you don't necessarily think of this guy as being all-world, all-pro, but he was able to create enough plays, and he made a ton of them. He made the winning plays to win the game. And I think Jared Goff is capable of that as well, but I don't think Sean McVay is going to put it all on his shoulders to do. But then you look back at the last game in New Orleans, probably the most hostile environment for a road team to play. There was a drive he needed to make to get in field goal range and send it to overtime. He did that. He was pressured 2 times in overtime, got the ball out of his hands on boots where it could have been sacks, it could have been errant throws, but he made the plays. I think Jared Goff showed you that in crunch time, he's even keel enough, he's calm enough to do it.
Ryan Clark, last question. You do understand that you're basically saying that Tom Brady and Bill Belichick are going to lose back-to-back Super Bowls.
Back-to-back Super Bowls. Well, I'm going to bring up this point. Last year, I had to make 2 bold predictions on Friday before the game on NFL Live. My first was that Nick Foles would lead a touchdown-winning drive in the fourth quarter, and the Philadelphia Eagles would win. My second was that Tom Brady and Bill Belichick would never win another Super Bowl. Now, they have a 50-50 chance to do it, but those were my bold predictions. And so I believe that in this game, the Los Angeles Rams edge out the New England Patriots 34-31.
Ryan Clark, appreciate you, man. Keep up the great work. I'll see you after the Super Bowl, my man. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. See you, my guy.
All right. I always pause when I have to have my next guest. And in the interest of full disclosure to my listeners and my viewers out there nationwide, the man that is sitting next to me right now was a guy. He's not just an extraordinary reporter for ESPN and has been on the NFL for many years. He's not just an author, but he's also a guy that used to be a former newspaper reporter that took me under his wing when I arrived in Philadelphia in October of 1993. He was covering politics for the Philadelphia Inquirer. And he saw this little loudmouth, brash kid from New York City who was wet behind the ears, breath smelling like Similac, didn't know a damn thing, okay, and took care of me before he departed for ESPN. He has always been my friend for many years. I love him dearly. The great one himself, the one and only Sal Paolantonio. What's going on, big time?
Oh, Stephen, hey, listen, let me tell you something.
How you doing, buddy?
I could recognize your talent 5 miles away. I saw it from the beginning. I knew it was going to happen. I just never knew it was going to explode like this. It's great to be here with you on your set, on your program, Super Bowl 53 here in Atlanta, Georgia.
I appreciate it. You know I love you, man. And let's just get right into it because, I mean, the way you cover the NFL, Lord knows what we're about to learn over the next 10 to 15 minutes. Let's break it right down. Number one, we've got the Rams going up against the New England Patriots. People looked at the New England Patriots this year and saw the things that they saw. Gronkowski, health issues, etc. Edelman suspended the first 4 games. Josh Gordon getting exiled for obvious reasons that we don't want to get into on Super Bowl week.
In the words of Tom Brady, people think we suck, we can't win any games.
That's right. How the hell did they get here?
Well, they took an offense that was from the outside in, and now they have an offense from the inside out. If you look at what they did against the Kansas City Chiefs, it was pound the rock, eat the clock, run 97 plays. They ran 97 plays in the AFC Championship game in Arctic conditions on the road in a hostile environment and beat the Chiefs. That's why after the game, Tom Brady said it was one of the, quote, great joys of my life to win that game. Now, this is a man who's had a lot of great joy, both personally and professionally. He said it was one of the great joys of my life for them to do what they did, to run 97 plays in a hostile environment in Arctic conditions and beat a pyrotechnic player like Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, who knows what he's doing in most circumstances.
Yes.
Okay, in most circumstances.
In most circumstances.
Not all circumstances. So that was a great win for them. I disagree respectfully with Ryan Clark, your previous guest. I think the Patriots in this game have a chance to dominate this game.
Because
of the way they can dominate offensively. I think if you look at the way the New England Patriots have lost their 3 Super Bowls, it's been the pass rush of the opposition, especially in the fourth quarter. We're not sitting here talking about Nick Foles, Nicky Touchdown, and the Philly special book that I wrote about their championship season. If Brandon Graham does not strip sack Tom Brady in the fourth quarter, what we're talking about is Jim Schwartz going into the witness protection program because they couldn't stop Tom Brady in the fourth quarter. Am I right about that?
Absolutely, no question.
Okay, so that's the basic difference between Tom Brady prevailing in the Super Bowl and losing 3. Pass rush and pass rush in the fourth quarter. This Patriots offensive line is better than it's ever been. I think this is the best offensive line that Bill Belichick has ever brought to the Super Bowl. They are big, they're strong, and they're well coached. And secondarily, they now run from the inside out. They are going to pound the rock, and they are going to eat the clock.
I will throw this at you. You did acknowledge that if you wanted to beat the Patriots in the past, it's by a pass rush. We talk about the Los Angeles Rams, particularly on the defensive side of the ball. What's the number one thing we talk about? We talk about Aaron Donald.
Okay.
Now, obviously, we've got to talk about Ndamukong Suh, the way he's looked in the playoffs, particularly against Dallas. Brock, as we can't ignore Fowler.
Where was Aaron Donald in Chicago? Where was Aaron Donald in New Orleans? Where were those guys?
But I'm asking the question. I'm not making a proclamation here. I'm asking a question. Aaron Donald being universally recognized as the greatest defensive player in football.
Yeah.
A guy that's soon to, he's an MVP, defensive player of the year. And, en route to another one, you have people who look at him that way. That same Aaron Donald that wasn't there in Chicago or other places like you said. You think that's going to be the case in the Super Bowl?
Listen, what have we learned about Bill Belichick over the years? First of all, he coached as the defensive coordinator of the New York Giants, the best defensive player of all time in Lawrence Taylor. He learned firsthand and up close, you got to take away the number one player on the opposing team. The reason why they didn't beat the Eagles is there wasn't a number one player. The Eagles were a total team run as individuals put together. And you have Aaron Donald. They took away Tyreek Hill, in the AFC Championship game.
So one catch for 42 yards for Tyreek Hill.
So there's the best player on the field. They took him away, So I think he's very capable of devising a game plan with Dante Scarnecchia, maybe the best offensive line coach of all time in the NFL, of double-teaming Aaron Donald and neutralizing him to the point where he is not in Tom Brady's face all game long. The second thing is that the way you neutralize a pass rush from the inside out is you run the ball on the fringes. You run the ball on the outside with James White, with Sony Michel. You run the ball with Devlin. You run the ball with Rex Burkhead. You make sure that Aaron Donald is doing this. Okay. Gone outside the 7.
So you're talking about reducing Aaron Donald to Joey Bosa, what they did to Joey Bosa in the divisional playoff game when NFL Films caught him on the sideline talking about, this is during the game. Tom Brady's awesome. Yeah. He's awesome. I mean, what do you do to him? By the way, would you hold on? Would you stop getting rid of the ball so quickly? This is what Joey Bosa was saying.
Well, that's the other thing is he gets rid of the ball in 2.5 seconds or less in most cases, Fastest in the history of the National Football. I'm not saying that Aaron Donald is not going to be a factor in the game. I think they have the capability of neutralizing him. You can't beat, as the Chicago Bears found out against the Philadelphia Eagles, you can't beat a team with just one defensive player. And I think that's the key thing.
Sal Pal right here with Stephen A. ESPN Radio, ESPN News. You know something? Aqib Talib used to play for the Patriots. He played with Tom Brady. Aqib Talib played cornerback for the Denver Broncos. They beat the Patriots in the AFC Championship game. When you talk about some of the things that the New England Patriots want to do, you're talking about somebody that's kind of familiar with what they do.
And Wade Phillips.
And Wade Phillips as well. So I ask you, how much of a factor do you anticipate that could potentially be in this game?
I think it's a huge factor. There's no question about it. And here's the bottom line. Here's the football field. I don't want to see defensive backs for the Los Angeles Rams covering grass. They got to be covering players. If you're going to go into it with a zone defense, a la the Pittsburgh Steelers,
you'll get picked apart.
A la the San Diego Chargers, you're going to get picked apart.
LA Chargers.
I'm serious. Yeah, LA Chargers now. Yeah.
I got you. I made that mistake.
All the time.
That's right.
But you got to lock up. And you got to hope to get the pass rush home to Tom Brady and the pass rush. The difference between Donald and Bosa, don't compare the two. With all due respect,
I'm not. I'm just talking about
Bosa's a NASCAR guy around the 9 hole. Okay, Aaron Donald's going to come into your face. He's got a swim move. He's got a bull rush. Aaron Donald's more like the late, great Reggie White. I mean, playing at the defensive tackle position. Right? He can bull rush. He can swim move. And he's relentless all the way through to the fourth quarter. Aaron Donald, if he's still standing in the fourth quarter and the game is close, he can be a potential big-time factor in the game.
You brought up playing grass and not playing, making sure you're not playing grass and making sure you're playing
Don't cover grass.
Right.
Do not cover grass.
You know who I think about? Obviously, Marcus Peters, because that was one of the things that he was guilty of. Now, obviously, when he tried to man up against Michael Thomas in the New Orleans Saints during the regular season, he got, he didn't get burnt for the whole 200 yards, but he did give up a 72-yard touchdown catch. I'm saying that when they talk about how much better he is when Aqib Talib is on the field, because he's not a guy that likes to man up on a man or whatever. He's a guy that likes to spy and play zone and take chances. In this particular game, how do you see him being utilized on the field with Aqib Talib?
Well, I think it's absolutely imperative that Wade Phillips matches up man-to-man. They got to play a little press coverage, and they got to allow Tom Brady to hold it 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3. Okay, now when you get to 3 Mississippi, you got a chance to get to Brady. If the ball's out before they get to 3 Mississippi, it's over. And that's what happened with the Kansas City Chiefs, especially in the fourth quarter. I was waiting for our good friend, Andy Reid, who we know we covered for many years of Philadelphia, to just go, whoa, ho, time out, ref. Let me gather my defense. Let me give him a little bit of a breath. And hopefully Sean McVay, the genius coach who couldn't beat Chicago and failed to beat Doug Peterson twice in L.A., let's hope that he can manage the fourth quarter, because nobody's better than managing the fourth quarter than Bill Belichick.
Do you look at Sean McVay right now and see a guy with his youth capable of out-coaching Bill Belichick?
I don't think it's a question of youth. Experience is only required when you're not capable. And I think he's very capable. I think he's extremely smart. I just think in this particular case, when you have a guy like Bill Belichick, it's going to take... Listen, how did the Eagles beat the Patriots? Stephen A., they converted twice on fourth down.
Can I remind everybody about your book, the title of your book?
It's Philly Special, how the inside story, how the Philadelphia Eagles won their first Super Bowl
There
title.
we go. Last year. Go ahead.
Bestseller on Amazon because of your show. Thank you very much.
I wouldn't say that, but thank you so much. All right. Absolutely. Go ahead.
But the bottom line is, the Eagles didn't roll over the Pats. They went at them, right? And they took calculated risks, but they executed. Football's about 3 things: matchups, adjustments, execution. That's what you have to do. So when you see the matchup, you're going to have a counter matchup. You're going to have a counter move. That's what Ray Lewis was so great at. You know what? He was a quarterback on the field, the defensive side of the field. He could see what you were doing before you were doing it. So it's about matchups, adjustments, and then when you make that adjustment on fourth down, guess what? You better execute. You better execute the Philly special. You better execute the fourth down pass to Zach Ertz when it counts in the fourth. I mean, that takes big pumpkins in order to be able to do that and then execute it. So I don't know if McVay's there yet. I certainly don't know if Jared Goff is there yet.
Covering the NFL as long as you have covered the NFL, Sal Pal, are we at a stage, or have you joined most of America who seems to be at a stage where they're acknowledging Tom Brady is the greatest of all time, even better than the greats like Joe Montana and others? Are you at that place?
I am at that place. I'm very close. I mean, I don't see where you have to take one over the other.
Understood.
But if you and I were, we're dividing up sides on a Turkey Bowl game, if you take Brady, I'll take Montana, and I like my chances.
The reason why I asked the question, I'm always interested in it, is only because
Montana never lost a Super Bowl.
They never lost a Super Bowl, A, and B, the game was so much rougher back then.
Sure.
And I think
hard to compare.
As great as we see these athletes are, the speed, the violence of the contact, etc., I don't think people realize how considerably softer the game is compared to what it used to do.
All they did was brush Brady's helmet.
That's right.
They just brushed his helmet.
Put in perspective for those in all your years covering the NFL, the difference.
I love the rationale. They brushed Brady's helmet. Well, it was the viewpoint of the referee.
Ridiculous.
Stop.
Ridiculous.
So the game is much, much different. So that's why I say it's hard to compare for sure.
I want to get to some quick hitters with you before I let you get on out of here. You cool with Andy Reid getting rid of Sutton as his defensive coordinator, moving in a different direction?
He had to do it. Somebody's got to go. What happened in that game was I'm going to say it. It was malfeasance. I mean, it was. You know, that's the bottom line. Is in the end, should have called a timeout and they should have tried something different. Mm-hmm. If you do not get to Tom Brady by any means necessary, okay, whatever it takes, whether you're Steve Spagnuolo or whether you're Jim Schwartz, if you don't get to Tom Brady, you got to figure out a way to get to him.
Do you agree with Spagnuolo being a new defensive coordinator in Kansas City as opposed to Rex Ryan?
Well, I'll take either one.
Right.
I'll take either one. And I was going to say Rex Ryan, for sure. No question. Kansas City Chiefs are going to Super Bowl next year.
So I agree with that, too.
Mark it down.
Last question for you. New Orleans, they got robbed. How do you feel about how Sean Payton has reacted to all of that?
How could you blame from 10
days later?
They got totally wrong. 10 days later. Well, that was a show prior to Roger Goodell's press conference.
Right.
And I could see where the commissioner would be a little torqued off, a little tweaked about that. But listen, if I were advising Commissioner Roger Goodell, I would have made a comment 24 hours after that and said, hey, we blew the call. This is what we're going to do about it. We understand people's emotional reaction to it. We're part of the NFL. We want you to be part of the NFL. So let's be upfront about it. And you get out ahead of the story and create your own headline.
Got you. You got a Hall of Fame vote.
I do.
You see them. Tony Gonzalez, Ed Reeves, Isaac Bruce, Edgerrin James, Atwater, Champ Bailey, all of these guys. Give me two names that stand out in your mind above all else.
Two names that stand out. Without a doubt, Ed Reed's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Ty Law. Now listen to this, okay? Ty Law. There are no New England Patriots in the Pro Football Hall of Fame from this dynasty, okay? Wow. Now you look at the Raiders in the 70s, won one Super Bowl. They got 7 people in. The Bears in 85 won one Super Bowl. They got 8 different players and coaches into the Hall of Fame. The Patriots have none. Those Super Bowls didn't win them by themselves. And you want to say Belichick system? Well, there was a Knowles system. He's got his players in. He's in. There was the Lombardi system. Lombardi's in with his players. Ty Law that logjam needs to be corrected.
Honored. Always love having my buddy, the one and only Sal Paolantonio, one of the greatest NFL reporters in history, right here with Stephen A., ESPN Radio, ESPN News, 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. Fellas, stop lounging around. Be active. Take your girl out. Go to a game or a concert. Get tickets to something. Plus, the NBA season is heating up, and the time is now to jump on those tickets. For all your ticket needs, look no further than Vivid Seats, the official ticket partner of ESPN. Go to vividseats.com and enter promo code ESPN to get 10% off your first order. Get out. Go have an experience, fellas. Get to the game and use what I use. It's Vivid Seats. Back with your calls and more in a minute. Plus some more guests. Stick around. Don't touch that dial. It's Stephen A. live on ESPN Radio, ESPN News.
Are you hiring? With Indeed, you can post a job in minutes, set up screener questions, then zero in on your short list of qualified candidates using an online dashboard. Get started today at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Want to catch the game on the go? Metro has you covered. With Metro, you get access to a network that covers 99% of people in the U.S., just like the big guys, so you'll never miss any of the action. Plus, you'll save a ton over what you're paying with AT&T or Verizon. Score big with Metro. Switch now and save big on a great network. Metro by T-Mobile. That's genius. Note that coverage not available in some areas. Stop by a store for details and terms and conditions.
You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Couple of bills needing to be paid here on the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio. It's presented by Progressive Insurance, protecting commercial vehicles and offering specialized coverages designed to protect small businesses. More at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Plus, for special occasions like Valentine's, 1-800-Flowers has the best bouquets and deals around, like a dozen assorted roses for $19.99, or upgrade to 2 dozen assorted roses for $10 more. To order, go to 1-800-Flowers.com/ESPN. Also, relationship tip number 1. It's not going to truly feel like a birthday, anniversary, or Valentine's unless there's roses involved. And this season, the biggest and best quality roses are only found at 1-800-Flowers.com. Right now, you can get a dozen assorted roses for $19.99, or upgrade to 2 dozen assorted roses for $10 more. To order a dozen assorted roses for $19.99, or upgrade to 2 dozen assorted roses for $10 more, go to 1-800-Flowers.com now. Click the radio icon and enter code Stephen A. Order today and save 1-800-Flowers.com. Code Stephen A. That's with a PH, not a V. Hurry up. This offer expires today before the heavyweight champion of the world, Deontay Wilder, comes on the show with yours truly. Let's get to the phones. Let's go to my man Carlton. You're live with Stephen A. on ESPN Radio and ESPN News. What's up, buddy? How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing today, Stephen A.?
Floor is yours, my man. Go ahead, buddy.
I've listened to all your guests on First Take and also on your own show in the afternoon this week, and the most disturbing thing I heard of anybody that came on was what Drew Brees said this morning on First Take. And what he said, disturbing in the sense that I'm rooting for the Rams to beat the evil Bill Belichick.
Yes.
And take him down a notch. The Lance Armstrong of the NFL from my vantage point. But what Drew Brees said is that early on in the season, the Rams played a very aggressive defense, but that since, somewhere around the midway mark, they have decided to play much less aggressive, drop back more, play more contained, play more zone. If the Rams do that, they will lose this Super Bowl, and they will lose it relatively easily. I am praying that Sean McVay is smart enough to have gone to all the tapes of the Patriots' 5 losses this year and take what Sal Pal finally got around to at the end of his discussion with you a few minutes ago, and reroute Julian Edelman or anyone else in the slot. Sometimes they put Gronk in the slot. Sometimes they put Hogan in the slot. You have got to chuck these guys at the line of scrimmage, disrupt Brady's timing, allow the defensive line to get home. If you don't chuck them, they run these little slant routes, these little pick routes, and they free them up, and Brady throws the ball before anybody can get home. And then the second thing you got to do, which Sal, go ahead.
Carlton, I need you to make your point really, really quick because the heavyweight champion of the world just sat down next to me. So I want to give you the last word real quick. Go ahead, Carlton.
Well, last thing, obviously, spy James White, tackle him immediately out of the backfield. If they do that, the Rams can win. If they don't, it's going to be victory 6 for Tom Brady and Darth Vader there.
Carlton, I'm excited to hear from you Monday once the Super Bowl is over, buddy. Thank you for calling. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. The one and only Carlton, my favorite caller, live with Stephen A. and ESPN Radio. It is my honor and privilege to be sitting next to my next guest. I've interviewed him on a couple occasions. Great, great guy, great person. Also a knockout artist. I'm talking about the man who reigns as the heavyweight champion of the world. He is 40-0 with 39 knockouts. Is that accurate, my man?
Most definitely.
That's right. The one and only Deontay Wilder is on the line with us right now.
Thank you so much.
What's up, big time?
Blessings.
The last time we saw you, we saw a split decision, essentially. We thought Tyson Fury was asleep. But somehow, some way, he's the first man in history I saw wake up in 5 seconds. Okay? So he woke up, got up, and survived your match against him. You guys are scheduled to fight again, or at least you're trying to make the work schedule out. What can we expect? When is this fight going to happen?
This fight, we're looking to make it happen late April, mid-May. And the location was looking like Vegas or Brooklyn at the Barclays Center.
Okay.
So it's going to be crazy. It's going to, the first one was electrifying. This one's going to be even more.
Is that definite, or because you don't have a definitive date as of yet, is there a chance that Anthony Joshua might enter the equation, since he's talking like he wants one of y'all for April 13th or something like that?
Come on. You know that's smoke and mirrors. He came all the way over here to save face. And that's all that is. They already spoken. I'm a big believer in speaking, believing, and receiving. I say it all the time, and they already spoke that they don't want me until 2020.
And why do you think that is?
Because they don't want to take risk. They feel they have a product that they can make a lot of money off of with less risk and more reward. And with me, the heavyweight division is based solely off of power, not really skill, but power. And with me, I have it all, so I'm an ultimate risk, and ultimate risk that they're not willing to risk.
I understand his risk. I mean, if I have to go against the reigning WBC champion of the world, who's 40-0 with 39 knockouts, who has the ability to put people to sleep with one punch, why the hell would I want to fight you before I have to? That's a business decision. But in fairness to Anthony Joshua, he is no scrub. He's got power in both hands. So why is it that Deontay Wilder is strictly thinking about taking the brother out as opposed to adopting a business mentality and saying it might be better business to wait for that fight in 2020 as well?
Well, with me, You know, the heavyweight division has been dead for so long, and now it's exciting, it's lit, it's more exciting than it's ever been in history. So, you know, with that being said, we got to continue we got to continue the excitement. It's a point in time now where the best must fight the best. Like I did in 2018. I fought a killer after a killer. Now I'm coming back in 19, rematching us.
Luis Ortiz, no joke. I didn't consider Stavern any kind of killer. I knew you were going to destroy him in about 60 seconds.
Well, you know, I said killer after killer, so I didn't include Stavern in that.
Yeah, I got you. So, how's life? I just want to say this. Right now where you are, you're a knockout artist. I like Anthony Joshua a lot. I would be scared for him if he went up against you. I applaud and appreciate everything you represent because you're class personified outside the ring. Inside the ring, you trying to put people to sleep, which we all know we want to see. I'll be damned if we want to see heavyweights going to 12 rounds all the time. So what's going to happen the next time you fight Tyson Fury? Because he did survive.
Yeah, he survived. Well, he went to sleep for a little bit, but this time I'll make sure he get that NyQuil. You know, so, you know, I do believe, so much, even with the count was so controversial.
It was slow.
It was very slow. 8.
Yep.
9.
Yep.
And then next week I saw him do a faster count.
That's
right.
Know,
and the guy getting up at 10, he waved it off. So I was like, but you know, controversy sells, and it made for a great fight. And like I said, the next time around is going to be even more explosive and exciting. I'm prepared and I'm ready.
Real quick before I ask you a Super Bowl question, my last question on boxing. What did you do wrong in that fight against Tyson Fury?
What I did wrong was, and I rushed my shots. I did something that I'm known for doing, you know, and that's knocking people out. I know when I try and when I force myself to do it, it never happens. But, you know, in the situation and the circumstance, under these circumstances of the heavyweight boxing has been dead in America and it's not our top sport here. You know, I've always had to fight against other sports. You know, I've never had the guy to promote for me and I had to do it all by myself. But this time around, it was different.
I know my boxing, but I'm not going to act like I'm an expert. But can I give you a tip of something I noticed in front of our audience? Can I give you a little tip?
Oh, go ahead.
When you catch somebody with a straight light, right, you put them to sleep usually. But when you have them hurt with a straight right, for some reason, you then go to windmill factor. If you follow straight up with the right again, it's lights out. I see your boys back there. Am I right about that? I'm saying you catch them straight with the right.
Yeah.
But then when you got them hurt, you go like this.
Yeah.
As opposed to another.
And that's the thing about it. Everyone become an expert when they're dealing with boxing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm just saying.
Easier said than done.
I ain't trying to get no damn ring with you. I'm totally being straight with you. Totally. I ain't trying to get in the ring with you. Before I let you get on out of here, you're a champion. You know champions when you see one, even before the championship rounds arrive. Who you got in this one? Patriots or Rams?
Man, you know, it's an easy decision for me. I'm going with the guy. I'm going with the man.
Great.
You know, you damn right. You know what I'm saying? I gotta go with him. He's a big supporter of boxing. He's a big supporter of me. You know, a good friend of mine, and I'm supporting him all the way. You know, he's one of the best quarterbacks that's ever lived and done it. You know
I'm at the point now, man. I can't deny it no more. I think he's the greatest to ever live.
For real. What he does.
I mean, if he wins this year, he has as many championships as Jordan.
Man. That says a lot, you know. Can nobody, you know, deny that? And you know, we have to give him his respect at this point in time.
In the National Football League, with 18, you know, with all the dimensions, he's played 18 seasons. This is his 9th Super Bowl.
It's crazy.
Every other year, the brother in the Super Bowl, ain't this?
Man,
something else. I'm proud of you, baby.
Blessings. Thank you so much, brother.
You know I'll be at the next fight. So I was at the last fight. I'm gonna be at the next fight.
To the day.
ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. If you missed any of the Stephen A. Smith Show today, don't worry. You can listen to the podcast on your schedule, on demand. Brought to you by the new Capital One Saver Card. Earn 4% cash back on dining and entertainment, 2% at grocery stores, and 1% on all other purchases. What's up? What's in your wallet? More of the Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio and ESPN News in a minute.
Edible underpants. Never classy. Edible arrangements. Always classy. It's easy to make a big impression this Valentine's Day with the freshest fruit and the finest chocolate from Edible Arrangements. Don't wait until the last minute. Place your Valentine's Day order by February 10th and save 20% on all pickup orders over $50. Stop by your local Edible Arrangements and experience love at first bite, or order online and have delicious delivered at edible.com.
Guess what?
You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it!
Only got about a minute left here on the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio. I'm sorry my voice was a little compromised, but I was here. I got the job done. That's the bottom line. Thanks again to Sal Paolantonio, Ryan Clark, Deontay Wilder. You know, just the list goes on and on. The great Jerry Rice, greatest receiver in NFL history, all joining me on the show today. Thanks to Shaq and others for joining me earlier this week. Bill Romanowski and others. I've got the New England Patriots winning this Super Bowl. The Rams can beat them. They have the talent to beat them. I'm not questioning that. What I'm questioning is somebody that's telling me it's good sense to bet that Tom Brady and Bill Belichick are going to lose back-to-back Super Bowls. If they had won last year, even though I picked them to lose to Philly last year and I was right, if they had won last year, it would be different. But the fact that they lost last year, that they went through so much since then to get back here, it's hard for me to believe they're going to lose to this team. That's just how I feel. New England 31, the Rams 27. Talk to y'all Monday. Until then, peace and love.
That's just a sample of what you'll hear on the Stephen A. Smith Show. Weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
State Farm, Robert here.
Robert, somebody burned down my she shed.
No one burned down your she shed, Cheryl.
Oh, really, Victor? Because my she shed's burning up in the backyard.
Your she shed was struck by lightning, Cheryl.
Robert, does State Farm cover my she shed?
What's a she shed?
She turned our shed into her hideaway, Robert.
Oh, yeah, that's covered.
You hear that, Victor? I'm getting a new she shed.
Can we stop saying she shed now?
Go with the one that's here to help life go right. State Farm. Talk to an agent today.